Hi, let me turn. Whoops. Let me check that. Yeah, the audio is working. Um, Hi. Um, I look very eggy. um, today I thought I would do a special about Google. Um, I think Google, unfortunately, is omnipresent in our lives. Uh, my phone is a Google phone. My cell service is Google Fi. I have a Google TV. I have all kinds of Google things in the house. And I think because of their size and their power, they've stopped caring about their customers. And I'm going to explain why I think that. I have a few notes here about the problems I've been having with Google products. Um, so the first thing is I have a Google TV. And I looked at reviews online, and everybody was speaking very highly of Google TV. I don't think it's ready for prime time by any means. I think Google TV needs to have a bunch of more revisions before it's ready for prime time, and I'm going to explain why. The first thing that I discovered was a problem was when I stream on YouTube and I go into Google TV and I look at my streaming time, the streaming tab is off by 1 hour. So if I go and look with my browser on my computer, everything's fine. If I look with any other device that I have, everything's fine. If I go look with Google TV, the time is off by 1 hour, and it looks like somebody didn't take into account the time zone. And it's not just my streams, it's everybody's stream. If I look at someone else's stream, it's the same thing. It's off by 1 hour, and it looks to me like somebody forgot to code the time zone. Uh, and I did complain about that, and somebody on Twitter contacted me. And there was a bunch of solutions which were a bunch of Hail Mary passes, and the last solution the one that they were pushing was resetting the Google TV device, which I don't want to do because it means I'm going to have to reinstall every application on it. So I don't want to reset it, and I shouldn't have to reset it. They should just have to change their firmware to work properly, or make a setting that the user can change in the settings of the device. The device has settings. The user should be able to change the settings so that there's no time zone problem. But they won't do that. And I told them no, I'm not going to reset it. And I told them that I think that Google doesn't care about its customers anymore. Um, I think I got a reply to that, but I haven't looked at it yet. Um, Other things, so that was the first problem that I found. Other problems in Google TV. I do like the Abbott and Costello show. I watch it. It's in black and white. I find it interesting from a historical standpoint, the history of comedy, I guess. Um, and there's 2 seasons, and those 2 seasons are available on Amazon Prime. And I used to be able to go into my watch list on Google TV and select the Abbott and Costello show, and then it would take me to Amazon Prime. It knew that Amazon Prime was showing it, and now it doesn't. The only option I have if I go into my watch list is if I click on it, it's going to tell me that it's available on Tubi. I don't know what service that is, and not Amazon Prime. There's only one way to watch it. And that's bullshit, because if I go to Amazon Prime, if I click on the app itself, I can go into the app and I can go into my account and I can select Abbott and Costello, and it's right there. So I don't know what's going on. Their software doesn't know that it's available on Amazon Prime. I guess I would have to do a complete reset for that also to work, maybe. Another problem. There's a show Never Have Ever that I watch on Netflix, and they've just released the second season. So I thought, oh, I should add that to my watch list. and I'm able to find it, and it tells me it's available on Netflix. But when I get to it, the add to watch list button is grayed out, and when I click on it, it says, "Oh, I cannot do that." Why? Why can't you not do that? There's no explanation. I cannot do that. I cannot add it to your watch list because what? It's on Netflix? Not because it's on Netflix. I watched other shows on Netflix before. It's it's another bug, and there's no explanation for it. And probably I would have to reset the device again. Um, Another thing that I started worrying about very recently is that I have a watch list, and that watch list is growing and growing and growing. And at some point, it's like, okay, there are shows that I'm watching, every day, and there are shows that it's on the watch list, but maybe someday I'm going to watch it, maybe not, I don't know. But it's like more distant, you know. And I'd like to be able to reorder things in my watch list. I searched online, and apparently there's no way to reorder the watch list. You can reorder the apps. I found things about reordering the apps, so apparently I could do that. But the watch list, it's whatever order you put things in, and you're stuck with what you have there. Or maybe another reason would fix the problem. It's becoming ridiculous. Uh, but the biggest problem for me, and that's pretty much a deal killer as far as I'm concerned, is that the Google TV doesn't accept profiles. Doesn't accept multiple profiles. You can have a profile. You can, I've set it up for myself, and I create a watch list, and I put things that I want to see in my watch list. But then there's my wife, and on every other service that we have, it can be on Netflix, on Paramount Plus, on Amazon Prime. She has the option of creating a profile for herself, or I create the profile for her. I don't remember how it works, but she can have a profile, and she can put the stuff she wants to watch in her profile. But on Google TV, there's only one profile. It can have multiple accounts associated with it, but don't mistake that for multiple profiles. It's not the same thing. So you have one watch list, and if she wanted to use a Google TV, which right now I say, well, I'm sorry, sweetie, you cannot use it. But if she wanted to use it, then her watch list would be combined with my watch list, and we'll have just one watch list. So there would be a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not interested in. And I find that extremely puzzling, why Google couldn't release a device that supports multiple profiles. I've seen rumbles online that saying that at the beginning of June they found some things in the APK saying, oh, probably it's going to come, but right now it's not there. So I would say, if we're two people here, so we're kind of making do with it. But if you have a family of four and you don't want to have everybody's watch list combined together, don't buy Google TV. Get something else. I don't know what it is you're going to get, but get something else, because this is not the device for you. I'm sorry. I don't know if Google was thinking that, mother, father, and the kids would each buy their own device. That's not how it works here, and I don't think that's how it works in most houses. Okay, and that's just Google TV, because I've had other problems with other Google devices. For instance, YouTube Music. First of all, the YouTube Music GUI on Google TV, or on a WebOS TV. We have WebOS on our both TVs upstairs and downstairs. So WebOS TVs and every kind of TV that I've been able to look at, the Google Music GUI is just not Google Music. The YouTube Music GUI is YouTube. There's no difference between YouTube and YouTube Music. And this is complete nonsense. YouTube Music is something different than YouTube. It can possibly synergize with YouTube. You could have a playlist on YouTube and have a playlist on YouTube Music being the same playlist. I can understand that. But the interface, using YouTube as the interface for YouTube Music, is complete nonsense. For instance, I'm going to give you an example of something I cannot do on Google TV, because Google TV uses the YouTube interface. If I go into the YouTube interface in Google TV and I select the playlist, I am unable to shuffle it. The playlist is going to play in the order that I've set it, you know, when I created the list. It's not, there's no option. I can press the button and hold it. The options I'm going to get is play and maybe a few other options, but there's no shuffle option. It's unable to shuffle it. Why? The Google's engineer probably have an idea why, but to me, it makes no bloody sense. The migration from Google Music to YouTube Music was a complete disaster. That's a one-time event which will not recur, but I was very careful to make playlists of videos the music videos I was interested in. Actually, yeah, I don't know how that happened, because it's kind of the merge between YouTube and YouTube Music. That it's not just a migration from Google Music to YouTube Music, but anyway, I had a playlist that was very carefully curated of music videos that I wanted to see. You know, sometimes I dance in front of the TV. It's good exercise. It's better exercise than just walking around. Especially in my condition right now, dancing is better than just walking. So I had this playlist of videos, and it was completely converted to a playlist of songs. So the playlist at first was all videos, and then after the transition, it was all songs without video. You know, for those of you who have YouTube Music, you know that you have the choice. If you have a song with a video, like I don't know which song I can give as an example. But you know, if you have a song with a video, you can either select the song with the video, or you can select just the song by itself without the video, which I suppose for Google it saves them bandwidth if they just can play the song for you. But I had a whole curated list of videos which have now been turned all to songs. So I've had to basically recreate that list, and that was a big kick in the balls, I would say, and not very pleasant transition. You know, they sent, when they were doing a transition, they sent poll after poll after poll, and I did tell them, you guys fucked up. And another problem with the YouTube Music app is that the shuffle on my phone, if I want, so I cannot shuffle with the Google TV, or you know, my browser probably could, but it causes problems if you cast from the browser to the synchronization is not perfect. So I mean, it's fine on the TV, but it just doesn't work well. So I turned to my phone. I start Google Music on my phone, not regular Google Music, because on the phone you can get Google Music as an interface, not on anything else. I mean, on the browser you can also, but not on any kind of Google TV device. You cannot get it there, but on the phone you can. So on the phone I start YouTube Music, and I select my big playlist of videos, and I say shuffle. And it's going to start in a random position, but then it doesn't shuffle. It starts in a random position and just plays the songs one by one. And the problem with this issue is that so I'm going to do it, and then it doesn't work. It's not shuffling. And then 3 days later, I'm going to try it again, and it works. And again, I don't know what the hell is going on with Google. And all those things, and especially the shuffle, I found places where people were complaining about it, but all those things that I've mentioned so far, people have complained about it before I did. People have complained about it sometimes 6 months, 1 year before I did. And Google did nothing. They did nothing to fix it. You have a Google expert that comes into their chat or their whatever the system is, and will say, well, reset the device, and it's going to be marked as the answer, to which I say bullshit. No, that's not the answer. That's definitely wasn't the answer on my phone. I didn't reset anything on Google Music, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I think now it probably does work, but for a long time it didn't work at all, the shuffle. But I didn't reset anything, and then it didn't work. Did I need to reset something? No, I didn't. It's just Google was, stupid. Another problem I've had with another Google service, Google Voice. A while back, I decided to cut the cord with Comcast, the Xfinity, and I told them, well, we just want to have the internet, no TV, no phone service, and we saved a lot of money doing that. And one of the problems that why we had the phone service with them is that we needed a landline for the alarm system. I have a different system in place now to still get the alarms, but part of that move was to move our landline number to we still need to have it. Some people can call us on the old landline number. And eventually we're going to phase it out, but for now we still have it, and I wanted to be able to get service on it, so I needed to port it from Xfinity to Google Voice, and Google Voice completely missed the port. They couldn't port it. They ported it, and then they kicked it out, and it was a complete mess. And I complained about it at the time, and the person couldn't tell me what the problem was. But I said, try again. And I said, no, I'm not going to try again, because you cannot tell me why it didn't work the first time. I'm not going to click the button and retry until it works. This needs to be reliable because people call us on that number. So Google Voice is another case in point. Why didn't it work? We don't know. It just seems arbitrary and capricious on Google Voice's part. Then, I mean, you probably know that generally that, as far as Google is concerned, the services it offers are temporary. It has closed down many services over the years, like Google Reader. I was a user of Google Reader. I had to move to another service when they closed it down. They don't give any explanation, possibly because it's not profitable for them to maintain the service. But they close services that users like you and me use every day. And I mean, every time they do that, it seems that it leaves a bitter taste in everybody's mouth. Yeah, I mean, that's another aspect of their operating procedures, that they don't care about the users. We're just close. You were using this, we're closing it, and screw you. Find a service somewhere else. It's not our problem. And there's this thing that happened this week, actually, and to me, this is the epitome, I don't remember how you say that in English, epitome of Google's careless attitude. And I'm going to have to share. Rip. How do I share? Oh, yeah. It's been too long since I've shared. Yep. There it is. There it is. Google pushed a one-character typo to production, breaking Chrome OS devices. To me, this is the epitome of Google not caring about its customers. This problem, and somebody was able to find the source code and analyze it. this problem was eminently detectable. This problem was caused by a typo between, you have to understand a little bit the programming world behind it, but it's an ampersand, a single ampersand, or ampersand ampersand. Um, and there was a typo. You can, well, it is in the article on Ars Technica, and yeah, it's just the difference between ampersand and ampersand ampersand. And you say, well, this is, if you just ask somebody, what's the difference between the two, and you can catch someone unaware, but there's no excuse for Google. There's really no excuse for that bullshit. There are linters, and linters are code checkers. There are code checkers that can run over that code, get to that line, and tell you, A, did you really mean to just put 1 ampersand there instead of 2? And then the person has to decide whether they wanted just 1 ampersand or 2. And they do that by they will add something to the code to say to the checker that, oh, this is okay. This is what we want here. And there's none of that in the code that has been disclosed. And this boggles the mind, because I'm a software engineer, and all the software engineers that I've worked with, we've all been trained. You test before you release. You test your code before you release. And to see something like this, it's like, where the fuck was the testing? Who tested that? Nobody. Nobody tested it. They released it, and it bricked some Chromebooks. And unfortunately, my wife and I both have one. She has a Chromebook. I have a Chromebook. And the Chromebook was a godsend when I was at the hospital, because it was small enough to fit in the safe, and I could use it on my lap, and it was very light, and it was great. And I still use it at home now. I still think the Chromebook is a great form factor and everything. But how much do you want to screw your customer by releasing code that hasn't been tested? And the people, so I was going to get on that story, that some people did actually upgrade their Chromebook to this version of the code, and they were screwed over by that, because they couldn't log in anymore. Some people lost data. The answer to every problem of Google is reset your computer, power wash it, power wash the Chromebook. This is an answer that I see too often. Power wash your Chromebook. Or power washing a Chromebook means you're deleting all the data on it. So stuff that is in the cloud is not going to be deleted, but stuff that is on the Chromebook itself, it's gone. And I do have a Linux installation in it, and I do have stuff in the Linux installation that is, I should probably back it up now, but it would be disagreeable if I lost it, but not a disaster. So that's why I'm not backing it up right now. But there's stuff that if I lose it, I lose it. And Google doesn't seem to, it gets into one ear and out the other when people complain about things like that. And then they release something that can break your Chromebook, and then you need a power wash to restore it. I was lucky because I didn't do the upgrade, and my Chromebook didn't crash, because sometimes you say, wow, I saw the announcement a few days back saying that there was a problem with the upgrade. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do an upgrade now because I'm going to screw myself. But sometimes it's out of your hands, because the damn thing, there's no way on a Chromebook to tell it, don't upgrade automatically. It's going to check upgrades from time to time, and it's going to download the upgrade. And if between the upgrade download and a time in the future you crash, then the computer is going to restart, and it's going to install the upgrade. So some people might have been screwed against, you can always say, well, you shouldn't upgrade too fast, but some people might have been screwed against their will. Like the upgrade was downloaded, their Chromebook crashed, it rebooted, and now you have the new thing that doesn't work. Uh, they're supposed to produce a patch for that. I don't know when it's going to come out. But yes, as a software engineer, this boggles my mind, and it boggled the mind of a lot of people in Ars Technica. You can go look at the article there and read it, and read the comments. They're not nice against Google engineers. It really it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck were you thinking? Were you thinking? And I'm going to end this by mentioning one thing that I think is emblematic of the problems at Google. Google is too big, and I think Google should be broken down by the Federal Trade Commission. It should be broken up into multiple pieces. I don't know how to break it up exactly. I have some ideas, but I'm not. I don't work there, so I'm not going to do it for you. It should be broken up, absolutely, and set up so that it doesn't, reform itself next year. But one thing for me that is emblematic of how Google has changed is that I think it's in 2018, in May 2018. I'm not sure, but that's when it was discovered. I think I found it in a Gizmodo article. In May 2018, they were reporting that Google used to have a motto that said something like "Do no evil," and that "Do no evil" motto in its code of conduct, the code of conduct of Google, was removed in 2018. And I think at some point somebody over there realized that they would just have to be fine with doing evil. At some point, what big companies like Google want is money, and they're gonna get their money whatever way they want, and now they don't have to care anymore. If a Google product works well for you, great. I have Google products here, like the displays, the mini speakers. Um, I don't have problems with them usually, so they're working great for me. But if by any chance one of the Google products you have in your house doesn't work well, I say God help you, because Google is not going to help you. Google is just going to say power wash it or reset it, or it's nonsense. And I don't want to single out Google. I'm having a fit against Google right now because I think there's been a lot of stuff that hasn't gone my way with them. But I could complain about Apple, but not personally, because I don't have any Apple products here. So I can't personally complain about Apple, but I'm sure somebody could produce a video against Apple. Somebody could produce a video against Amazon, and I do use Amazon, and I do have problems with some of Amazon's practices. I might have another video later about Amazon. Amazon is in the same boat. We're so big that we don't care anymore. We can just do whatever, and we're still gonna have customers because we're the only game in town. And then there's the other places could possibly be added to the list. So it's not just Google, but I've had personal trouble with Google lately. Yeah, and I guess that's it. I mean, I'm looking forward to them being broken up by the FTC. If my representative asks me my opinion, I say, yeah, break them up, because right now the customer is being screwed over by Google. That's how it is. So with this, I'm going to end the stream. I thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.